Oh, well, surprise, surprise, surprise. Good morning on and all. So, yeah, after having a live stream yesterday following the antics, I suppose you could say, of Boris Johnson's committee, I suppose, the committee on Boris Johnson, I suppose I felt, like I wanted to do just a bit of a morning walk, a surprise live stream, just to, well, really go over it all. I mean, I've had a chance to sleep on it, as they say, to see what old Johnson would be thinking, and just see how the land would lie in the morning. Nice pony for you all. But yeah, wow. Oh, what a interesting hearing that was. A good morning yesterday. Oh, that's what I should have called the stream now, but never mind. So yeah, it's yeah, it was weird, wasn't it? I mean, looking back on it and looking at sort of people that have posted highlights, because I know there was one thing that I missed, because I knew at the time he kept on talking about, oh well, if it should have been, quote, obvious, if it was, quote, obvious to me, then it should have been obvious to others. And I went, well, hold on, are you trying to sort of get out of this by saying, well, what about all the other civil servants? What about all of them? And especially, I missed the part where we tried to bring Rishi Sunak into it. I missed that because it happened very, very quickly. But he tried to bring Rishi Sunak into it, and it was like, oh, okay, okay, that's how Johnson wants to play it. Yeah, the committee was brilliant, expecting the Tories to be soft on Johnson. No, the committee was absolutely amazing, to be honest. And I agree with you, the committee did an absolutely fantastic job. And I didn't, like I say, I had that bit of worry as well, that maybe there would be someone on the committee try to throw him a lifeline, at least to try and save himself. But no, he really didn't. They all went hard on him to one extent or another, with those questions. And I think they all really do deserve a lot of praise for being on that committee. I think they really do. And I'm going to probably have a look later on today, because I haven't had a chance to look yet. I really want to know what the view is from Conservative Home, especially given their recent poll that we went over previously the day before about party activists wanting to sort of keep Johnson as an MP but not have him return as party leader or prime minister. I think that's again an interesting point of just what's going on in the Conservative Party, I think, but I think that's a wider topic for discussion later, to be honest. But yeah, the committee itself, I think they all deserve, they all did really, really well. Really well. And of course, a couple of people have said, and Johnson sort of seemed to get really angry at points. Jill the Coda, good morning to you. Oh, Helen Wilkes, good morning to you. John as well, good morning. Because I haven't said good morning as well. Loki's Children, good morning to you as well. Oh, Johnson, these parties were absolutely necessary for work purposes. Everyone else, nah. I mean, that was it. I can't believe he was trying to spin the idea that these parties were necessary for work purposes. Helen, yeah, if I didn't do it, then everyone else's fault as well. And you can't prove anything. Yeah, exactly. Oh, P, good morning to you. Morning all, it's official. The fool explained himself that he is a fool for hours. Everyone needed more. If anyone needed more proof of that, yeah, very, very true. How do you see the ERG faction impact on Sunak's considering Westminster vote yesterday? It'll be interesting going forward to see what they do. Because obviously this is passed now, and it will be interesting to see if they sort of try to save things. Like, do they try and save the Northern Ireland Protocol Bill? Do they try and save the retained EU law bill? Both of which have been made completely unnecessary by Sunak's deal. So we'll have to see how those go down the line. But as a lot of people have said, the Northern Ireland Protocol Bill is just no longer necessary now. So we will see. Oh, Fox, good morning to you. Oh, Iovic, still amazed by Johnson's apparent lack of understanding of the gravity of his position. Yeah, that's someone who has never really had to answer for anything else in his entire life, and has been able to, well, coast by and fail upwards on so many occasions. And it's just the first time he's ever been held to account. Really, I mean, even at the end, he was saying, oh, go on, chaps. You know, you'll find me innocent because there's no evidence. Well, the committee presented their evidence multiple times. You know, they've got their own witness testimony. They've got their own photographs. You know, they've said they're not even real. That was quite kind of fun. Numerous points where Johnson had made reference to the sort of Sue Gray's report, and right off the bat the committee said, well, actually we're not using Sue Gray's report as evidence because, well, we've done our own evidence. English comedy still at its best. Yes, that is very, very true. That is very, very true. It was, you know, it had its moments without all of that. It had some incredible moments, that's for sure. But it just goes to show you that, you know, I think it's just Johnson, probably for the first ever time, having to answer for his crimes, and he still thinks he did nothing wrong. You know, as far as he is concerned, he did nothing wrong. These parties were, you know, a function of work. And, you know, everyone was saying at the time, when the whole Partygate thing was in full swing, it was like, well, look, he's, you know, the rot of this, the culture in number 10 starts at the top. It starts with Johnson. And we've seen before from his various advisors, and even, you know, Dominic Cummings, even though Johnson is trying to make the case of, oh, he's not a reliable witness, he's not a reliable witness. Well, he was pretty much the guy on Johnson's shoulder throughout all that. He has an and knows where all the skeletons are buried. This is why, to be honest, even though Dominic Cummings, to be honest, shouldn't be trusted in a lot of other things, there is a lot to be said about when he says stuff about, you know, him and Johnson in their times of well, Partygate. Then yeah, it's how it goes, really. You've been fending off the seagull hooligans, so good luck. Good luck for that. Yeah, Cummings knows everything. Yeah, exactly. I still think there's more to come. I still think Cummings is holding on to a ton of stuff, to be honest. I really think he is. Pretty Bird, greetings to you. Yeah, Dominic Cummings has not been worrying, not been wrong about Johnson. Yeah. I mean, there's so much stuff. There's so much stuff he's probably sitting on that he probably even hasn't released yet or even said anything about. In fact, I think he was probably hoping he'd be the one to take down Johnson. But maybe he sat on that information for a bit too long, so to say. But yeah, that's the other thing that Johnson kept on alluding to, that, you know, he had enemies like buried within number 10 who, if there was wrongdoing, then why didn't they blow the whistle earlier? Well, here's the thing. You remember once again, during oh dear me. You may remember during Partygate, there was a big kerfuffle about a party that happened, a Conservative HQ, and they took a big sort of group picture. And once they took that big group picture, it was out there in the world to see for quite a while, because they didn't think they'd get caught. Because even Johnson was saying, oh, but you know, everyone was imperfectly social distancing, and yet you talk to so many people out there, and you know, I've seen it in sort of the comments as well whenever we talk about this, of people who had vulnerable relatives, or you know, were scared to death that, you know, if they want to see the grandparents, they might give it to the grandparents. And they all followed social distancing to the letter because they were that worried about passing on COVID to family members and friends who were sort of, you know, more vulnerable than they were. And yet they followed, you know, I've got a few friends who followed social distancing to the letter on that. So it's almost a continuation of that same level of arrogance that they displayed throughout all the Partygate saga, continuously, time and time and time again. They continue just to display this, I don't know what you would call it, it's just wanton attitude of just, you know, disconcern and just, well, you know, it's rules for thee and not for me. And I think this is going to hurt the Tories even more. Because remember, it was they who put Boris Johnson in power. It was they who, you know, made him the king in all respects. Is Partygate going to damage Sunak? considering the constant talk about Tory partying, yes, it's not just going to affect Sunak, it's just going to affect the entire Tory party. Because at the end of it, well, as I said yesterday, we've now got to wait to see what happens. Hang on, there might be a lot of wind. There we go. So this is going to affect the Tories, and it's going to affect the poll numbers, because not only have you had this scenario going on, in a couple of months' time, the COVID inquiry is going to be taking its live statements and what it intends to do. And you're like, hold on a moment. You know, what's going on here? And I think, Pete, that's going to affect them just as badly. And remember, they have been consistently 20 points behind for quite a while now. There was the hope that at least the budget would somehow save them, or at least reverse the party fortunes. But it really hasn't. It really hasn't. And I think the more this damages their sort of credibility, their you know, the Tories always have this, you know, we're the only party that can govern sensibly, we're the only parties that are good economically. It's really damaged them on so many levels. Yeah, if Johnson is suspended for 10 days, it will seem as a whitewash. And also, if he's suspended for more than 10 days, could Johnson release all his messages that were there that Sunak didn't behave? Here's the thing. If Johnson did that and it was to take down Sunak, he would become persona non grata in the Conservative Party. You know, there are consequences if you do that. Remember, Michael Heseltine was seen as the man who took down Margaret Thatcher and was at least meant to be her prime successor. But in the party, he is not seen in a very favourable light because of that. So that's something Johnson wants to avoid. Because if he does that and it leads to a general election, if he takes down, you know, the parliamentary party, you know, it leads to a general election, one which they will lose if they did that, off the back of that material. Yeah, Johnson will not be welcomed back into the Conservative Party at all. So he would never release anything like that, ever. Oh, number 3, hello to you, good morning. Like I say, good morning and hello to everyone joining us. Like I say, please do remember to hit that like and share button. Like I say, this is our sort of post-committee stream. Sort of, you know, we've had a chance to sleep on it. See what, you know, we think after a night's sleep. But I'll just reiterate what I've said at the beginning to those who sort of may have come in late and sort of missed it, but my sort of thoughts concerning it are now. So overall, that was a terrible performance from Johnson. An absolutely terrible performance. He did not, I think, do a good job convincing anyone of his innocence. And in fact, I think you can tell that even more so where the chair, Harriet Harman, was asking him, would you like to correct the record? Would you like to, correct the record now? Because at numerous times he had admitted that he knew what the rules were. In fact, he admitted it 3 times, if you may remember. On all these dates, he knew what the rules and guidance was. And he confirmed that 3 times. And then they went into talking about all these parties and situations he was at and ones he was not at. And you're like, well, hold on. You've said to everyone before that question started, you knew what that was. Eric, good morning to you. So he is, just admitting that alone, refusing to sort of correct the record, still admitting that he did nothing wrong. I mean, he said it again when he got the fixed penalty notice. He just said, yeah, I still don't think I did anything wrong. And you're like, what do you mean you didn't do anything wrong? Yeah, I have a very suspicious feeling today we are going to be hearing from a couple of his advisors, because I think it was sort of said a lot yesterday. Boris has thrown his advisors that much under the bus. London is running out of buses. And that was really what a lot of people he was trying to blame. And it would be very interesting to see how long they stay silent for. In fact, I don't think they'll be very silent for long either. Because ultimately I think you'll have, Cummings was live blogging, although sort of we couldn't see it because it was on his Substack, behind his paywall. And I was hoping maybe he might live tweet it, but no, he didn't live tweet. He didn't live tweet, unfortunately. But it'd been very interesting to see what Cummings would have sort of been saying about all this, and have that on the other side to see what Cummings was saying, because that would have been also very interesting to read while we're going through that as well. In fact, I might try and find that out today. What Cummings had said. But make no mistake, today there are going to be a load of people. There are going to be a load of people pouring through that testimony today that Johnson gave. And I wouldn't surprise me to see if he's found out that he was lying. Morning horse feet this morning. Alright, let's see if we can get up here. At least it's a bit more drier. And we're up. So, yeah, what a committee hearing. It's that committee hearing I think would be important. Oh, Golden Boy, good morning from France. Good morning to you. Welcome to the Good Morning Walk. Or the Good Morning Thursday Walk, shall we say. But what the important thing now is, I think it's going to be the fallout. Because I think Johnson's going to get suspended, which will lead to a recall election, which could lead to a by-election, and that by-election, according to all sort of polls, that's one Johnson cannot win, or at least he would have a very big fight on his hands, that's for sure. So we've got to wait now and see what the committee does. But with Sunak offering like a free vote, on what happens to Johnson, that will split the Tory party. That will absolutely split the Tory party. Because if they vote to save him, well, then you just handed Labour easily the biggest cudgel to start beating the Tories with, at the next election. Not only that, but all the Tories who, voted to save him. That will be a massive cudgel for them. You've then got what I can only be described as, what does Rishi Sunak do now? Because I think it was, did we get a confirmation that Johnson had voted against his bill? I'm not 100% sure if we did get a confirmation, because I don't know if that's been released yet, or if it has, it'll get released today. But what a lot of people were pointing out was yesterday that, well, there were a lot of Conservatives who were abstaining on that vote. And I think when they do the tally, I think you're gonna get a lot of people asking why they abstained. Some will have a legitimate reason, but some won't. Oh, greetings from France. Well, greetings to you. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be very interesting what happens really now. We're just going to wait for the committee. Will there be more evidence? Well, I think that depends on if Johnson's advisors keep quiet or not. Because you could have, was it Martin Reynolds or Jack Doyle come forward and say, well, actually, we did have a conversation with the Prime Minister about this. We did raise our concerns about this with him. Or even sort of raising the fact that they couldn't do that. Considering all the independent MPs, it only takes about 45 to take down a vote, 35 if not factoring independents. Yeah. It just goes to show you how, even though the Tories have a majority, the party is so fractured, so broken, that they can't even agree on, simple votes that will get them to agree on stuff like that. It's kind of insane. It really is. Legitimate reason for being staying. Being honest about taking a salary and not doing anything for it. Well, here's the thing. They may have had a legitimate reason. They may have not been able to be there. Maybe they were busy with other, important heads of state or something like that. There are legitimate reasons why MPs might not be able to vote. But as people have said, there were a lot of people there who were like that. Albeit if DUP supports them, there would be about 53 or 43. Yeah, and like I say, at that point, I think it's once you get past 43, that's the Tory majority gone. And you've got to bear in mind what Sunak might be thinking. Well, I've got a number of MPs who are just going to sort of cause me trouble. And a lot of people have said, well, might Sunak just get fed up as Theresa May did? Because Theresa May tried 3 times to get her deal through and failed. So she just went, right, screw it, I'm gone. someone else can sort this mess out now. And maybe that's what Rishi Sunak does. Maybe Sunak just goes, you know what? I'm not going to lose being known as the guy who lost as the next election, because if he leaves, like if you were to leave, let's say a month from now, he could legitimately go around saying, look, I tried to save the Tory party. You know, if they had listened to me, you know, done what I told them, we could have turned our situation around. We could have turned the economy around. You know, if they'd given me more time, the economy would have turned around. You know, inflation would have gone down. And he could just live off that pretty much for the rest of his life, just being, you know, if only the Tory party would have listened to me, we would have won, or maybe survived more to the next general election. And I think that's how possible that is. Well, I don't know. Like I say, I'm not in Rishi Sunak's head, so I can't really see how you know, fed up he is of maybe being in that position. So if that happens, well, who knows? But everyone said it, that if they go for another leader, that leader is going to have to go straight into a general election. And after what would be a very, very messy, you know, yet another Tory leadership contest, which would be incredibly messy. There's, you know, what chances would they have in a general election straight after that? Not a lot. Patrick H, good morning to you as well. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Johnson's fate is sealed now. It would not surprise me if Johnson's fate is very, very much sealed. But at least when he's not an MP anymore, he can maybe now finally get on with writing that book about Churchill. You know, the one that's been at least meant to have been out like 2 or 3 years ago at this point. You know, I wonder what his publisher must be thinking at this point in time, because I'll tell you now, a book written by Boris Johnson, was that really a good investment? Was that really a good investment at this point? If I were the Churchill family, I'd ask him not to bother. Well, his grandson, Churchill's grandson, has said multiple times how much he hates, you know, Boris Johnson, and his grandfather would have probably hated him too, on that front. So, yeah, it doesn't bode well. Yeah, Bojo will head off to the high-paid speaker circuit. Yeah, exactly. I mean, he's already made a ton of cash already on that, with his, you know, high-paid speaker gigs. But that's exactly where he'll go to next. I mean, that's one of the, I think, the golden linings about the 2020 pandemic, is that Farage was booked to go on this big, again, the high-paid big speaker circuit in 2020. He was set all to go on it, and then along comes the pandemic and just cancels them all. So if you ever want a brighter side to think about the pandemic, Farage's golden moment to go on the speaker circuit was cancelled by the pandemic. So he lost out on a lot of money because of that. That is for certain. Hang on. Let me just get over this patch here. There we go. Up and over. But I really have to wonder what goes on from sort of this point. And I suppose we are waiting for the committee to come back, but I think his fate is very much sealed. You know, given the initial reaction this morning, Johnson didn't really do a good have a good performance. It'll be interesting to see what the right wing papers take of it. Like I say, that's why I'm looking forward to seeing what Conservative Home puts out about it, because that will be very influential if they say, well, look, Johnson didn't have a good deal, he should just step back. That will be very, very influential on that, that's for sure. But we'll see. Yeah, some of those speakers get paid $500,000 a speech. Exactly. This is it. There's been stories about people who have like gotten really lucky and then gone on to that speaker gig and then never had to do any more work, because that's how lucrative that speaker gig is. Oh, what's that? Daily Mail's got a picture of him like Johnson. Oh. Yeah, maybe that's what we'll do for a video today. Maybe we'll have just a look at you know, sort of what the right-wing reaction to this all has been. And we'll look at what the Daily Mail and the Telegraph have had to say about this, because I know the Telegraph are trying to support Johnson in all this, because obviously they're hoping that he'll come back and work for them. But I highly doubt it, to be honest. I think he'll get offered a very lucrative position on something like Talk TV, and then he'll go and do that. I think he will. But I think that's where Boris Johnson's future is, being a sort of, you know, conservative influencer. Not that. Conservative Home's top story yesterday. Hearing confirmed that Johnson's suspension for the Commons would not be an act of politics. Would act of politics, not justice. Oh dear me. Oh dear me. Was that written pre or post committee hearing? That'll be interesting to find out. He didn't even pay for his own lawyer. That's true. His entire team of lawyers you may have seen behind him, and of course the guy sitting next to him was his team of lawyers. And like I say, that was all paid for on the taxpayer's expense. Post-hearing, oh my word, we're going to have some fun with that. We are going to have some fun with that. But the thing is, with the Conservative Home, sometimes you'll get someone write a opposing piece. So that'll be interesting to see if anyone comes out with an opposing piece today on that. Yeah, his legal team were just face palming. That's true. That's very true. Have to excuse me about the wind. It's a bit windy all of a sudden. But well, again, this is what happens when you decide to do a show outside. I think his goose is cooked. I definitely don't think that Johnson has too much chance, to be honest, of surviving this committee. I mean, he started off by attacking the committee right off the bat, and you could see Harriet Harman in that, not being very amused that he was doing that. And that's why I think, you know, the last guy was answering, you know, asking him questions of would he accept the committee's hearing even if he thought the committee was wrong. That was important to get on the record, because I guarantee you Johnson would throw everything he could at the wall, and that was really his defence. He just tried to throw everything he could to try and ensure that he could save himself. And like I say, I wouldn't be too surprised if, shall we say, Johnson's advisors maybe break cover at some point and just say, well, oh look, if Boris is going to throw us under the bus, we're just going to throw him right back under it. Like I'm saying, it becomes at that point very, very interesting. There we go. Oop, there we go. About that. Questioning the impartiality of the chairman was not the brightest thing to do. Yeah, exactly. It wasn't the brightest thing for Johnson to do at all. Catho G, good morning. In fact, someone said it yesterday when we were going over his defence. What happens if he tries to wind the committee up? Even I said it then. It's not a good move. It's not a good move if he tries and winds the committee up, because these are the people who are actually going to deliver judgment on you. And if you're questioning their impartiality, given the way that Johnson acted, you've just made it all the more easier to find him guilty and say that, well, we acted with, you know, impartiality in mind. Oh. But yeah, I do not think Johnson will survive this inquiry. And I'll tell you what, there'll be a lot of people in the Conservative Party praying that they can try and boot him out, or at least get rid of him before the May local elections. Because if the May local elections do go as bad as a lot of polls are showing, and at least a lot of people are predicting, and also remember, Reform UK have also decided to throw their lot in, standing over 500 candidates, which basically means they're going to contest every single seat there is going. That's going to massively hurt the Tories. Massively hurt them at a local general election. This is why I've said one of the things we'll be looking for on local election night, it will be how many Tories get elected. Not how many Tories, but how many Reform UK candidates get elected. Looking forward to seeing the recall petition, very true. The polls have gone up a little bit for Sunak, but I imagine if the mortgage rates rise as expected by 0.25%, then the post-budget surge is gone and dusted. It's already gone and dusted already, I think. You know, Sunak has not had very good luck with the polls, to be honest. They could use Johnson as a scapegoat for their failures. I'd say more Liz Truss than Johnson, but yeah, they could certainly blame Johnson for the whole Brexit mess. That's true.
Bojo's rattled because he probably doesn't realises that there may be consequences for the first time in his life. Yeah, exactly. I think that's very true. Partygate, yeah, they'll blame him for the failure of Brexit. Yeah, I think they will. Or they'll blame Sunak for the failure of Brexit. You know, like I say, when you've got the hardcore headbangers sort of saying that the Windsor framework is not acceptable, that's when you start to get a bit more problems in the works, as they say. You've got a 39-year-old whiskey ready for the Tories on the election night. It's a good choice. But like I say, we're at the end of our little good morning walk today. So thank you very much, everyone, for joining us on this surprise good morning walk. Like I say, I wanted to sort of probably do a live stream rather than a video, sort of covering my thoughts of the whole Johnson debacle. I think that sort of works out better, and I hope I've got across, at least I've said everything I want to say about sort of the committee yesterday. But yes, thank you for joining us today. We'll look forward to seeing you soon. We'll probably end up talking about this more on Saturday as well. We might even get more fallouts potentially. So yeah, if you are new, please do hit the subscribe button. Do remember to hit the like and share button on your way out, and of course do remember to leave a comment down below as well. So until next time, have a nice day, and we'll see you all very soon.